Welcome to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. Our objective is to enthuse, inspire, energize, and empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes here in BW and beyond. We do so by inviting these entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs into our makeshift studio. Sometimes we call them to the restaurant, sometimes we go to our studio, and we ask them to share their experiential knowledge, their experiences and their expertise. And we ask them as many questions as we can, aimed at empowering you also as a viewer. Hello dear viewer, dear listener, I'm Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe, your host of this show, Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. It's always a pleasure and a thrill to share with you cutting edge information in the entrepreneurial space. And today I've brought as a guest Mr. Thuso Othusitse, who's going to talk to us about the business of education, specifically technology in the business of leveraging technology in the education business. Welcome to the studio, Mr. Thuso Othusitse.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mogobe, for bringing me here.
Okay. If you don't mind, please share with us your background in terms of your education and your vocation.
Okay. Thuso studied senior secondary school. I was in Madiba Secondary School. And then when I finished, I always wanted to be an architect, so I pursued that up until I was able to go to the United States of, UK, in Coventry University.
Coventry?
Where I was studying as a building surveyor. All my life, I've always aspired to be an architect. So I've actually done a lot of projects around architects. Until such time now, I feel maybe I need to change my profession and concentrate on technology. Okay, and specifically education technology, right? Or yes, technology and education? Technology and education.
Okay. Yeah. Now, what's the name of your company and what does it do exactly?
The name of the company is called Classmate, and the application is called Classmate as well.
Okay.
So we provide an e-learning platform. We provide e-content for education. Yeah.
So, in other words, it's a kind of platform which is accessible to which category of entrepreneurs or customers?
Our customers, basically, we start from primary school, upper primary school. We've got junior, we've got senior secondary school students, as well as tertiary.
Okay. Yeah. How did the app come about? What inspired you to start this app?
That is usually a tough question, but for me to say it, I would just simply say I've realized that technology is driving everything. If you're talking about health, we have e-health. If you're talking about finance, we've got fintech. But when it comes to the educational space, we don't see a lot of developments in terms of how we can turn around education using technology.
And now we're talking about the new normal. We are at a point where, we're in the middle of a state of emergency. Another lockdown can be declared anytime. So my question is this: how has the new normal changed the current approaches to choosing courses and career paths?
Well, obviously, we can see that nowadays, for you to pursue a career, you have to look at the pain point and in the community. What is it that you want to address? It's not like the old days where you say, I just want to be this. Nowadays, you look at the situation and say, okay, why not pursue this as opposed to doing that?
So specifically, let's break it down. What are the changes that have come up as a result in terms of how one chooses the career?
Well, I mean, if you take, for instance, I'm a building surveyor by profession, but looking at what is happening around, like our country, for instance, where we have a problem with the results in terms of education results. So I thought maybe why not just, shift my career and concentrate on something that I feel will make an impact, because it's more on the side of making an impact than money, because when you make impact, obviously money will come. Okay.
And let's go into deeper into this. Let's dive deeper. What is available, looking at the opportunities or in terms of the markets? You know, what is available as a direct result of COVID?
Well, I think COVID has accelerated a lot of solutions, those of which maybe we did not realize that at one point or the other we are going to be faced with a problem like this. Because we used to say we don't allow phones in schools, but now the schools are in the phone. So it's the other way around now, because we realized that because of social distancing and where now we are talking about homeschooling, so the only solution that can bring up, those is technology, nothing else. So that is why we feel COVID-19 has accelerated, the reason why now we should start, embracing technology in almost every aspect of life.
And in your case, were you trained in technology or you self-trained? Can you tell us that process?
Well, I happen to like technology, the whole of my life. And then I met my partner. So he's a developer by profession. So then we said, okay, no, why can't we just partner and come up with a solution like this? Because where there's ownership, then obviously it means he's going to, take it all out, and I'll do the same, supporting in terms of finance or other resources. So that is why now we decided to come out with a solution like this. Yeah.
And who's your partner? You're able to say?
Well, we've partnered with Botswana Innovation Hub. We've also partnered with Boost. As a teleco, we've partnered with Botswana Telecommunication. They help us provide connectivity to the students, because one of the big reasons why we could not embrace technology in education was because of the cost of data. Now that we have partnered with BTC, now data has been subsidized specifically for learning.
Okay, yeah. Let's break that down one at a time. First, let's deal with BIH. What exactly is the arrangement between you and them, or in terms of the type of partnership you have?
Well, with Botswana Innovation Hub, like right now, our offices are in Botswana Innovation Hub. This is where I will encourage even other people who have different ideas or innovations to go to BIH, because that is where you meet other like-minded people like ourselves. They provide mentorship for their startups, and then also like in our case, you've got FSVC program. The FSVC program, that is where you are given a shared space where you can have access to internet and the like. So in our case, because now we are at an acceleration point, that is where now they prepare us for commercialization. So it's a very good partnership, because they help us maybe source partners. They also help us financially to deliver our programs.
Okay. In terms of the rent subsidies, it's substantial?
Very, very subsidized.
Okay. You're at liberty to say?
Well, in our case, because when you are a FSVC, they pay only 250 pula per month. Oh. Like in our case, because we are given a shared office, instead of paying 2,400, we pay 800 bucks.
Okay.
That includes internet. That also includes other technologies that you might want to use around the facility. Yeah.
And that has helped you a lot?
A lot, yeah.
Okay. Now let's go to BTC. You mentioned that data is very expensive. I'm especially concerned because to communicate with the people via YouTube, they need data. Yeah. How has it worked for you? And perhaps how can it work for others?
Well, when we first knocked at BTC, we had a problem with why students are not accessing our platform. And then we went to them and say, can you maybe bundle it as a social bundles? And then they said, no, that's a very good idea. By the time we went there, actually they were ready to get into the content space. So they realized that having to partner with a technology company like us that delivers content, then obviously that also will promote their business.
Okay, and then Boost?
Boost, what they do is they provide us with students who mentor other students, because they've got brilliant students. Like in our case now, what is happening, they've got a social responsibility to help with Losani to improve the results. So now what they do is they give us the students, very, very brilliant students, those who do like one-on-one mentoring sessions with Losani students as part of their CSR. So they use our application to deliver the content.
For those who don't know, CSR means
corporate social responsibility.
Okay, so at any given time you'd have what, 10 students, the top 10 students from Bust?
Yeah, last week Friday I was training 10. They will be having like 1 to 5 students from Losani.
Okay.
So they'll be doing like one-on-one sessions with them.
To a non-technical person, without using any buzzwords or fancy words, can you explain how this app literally works?
Well, I mean, the way this app works, there is what you call a blended learning environment. That is where you use traditional learning and then you use technology. So we sit in between where we connect a student and a teacher outside the classroom. So they also call it a virtual learning environment where students can have access to educational content irrespective of where they are, irrespective of what time it is. So that is basically what we provide. So we have a parent, we have a teacher, we have a student. So we actually connect the three irrespective of where they are. Yeah.
And so far, what are the numbers look like? How many customers you have?
So far, during lockdown, we managed to register over 30,000 students.
You're joking?
Seriously.
So are you not overwhelmed?
No, we are not overwhelmed because everything is automated. Because with Classmate, when you get into the platform, you see your syllabus, you see your revision materials, you can also interact with other students, you can interact with other teachers across the country, not necessarily your teacher in the classroom. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask a seemingly stupid question. Why Classmate? How did the name come about?
Well, the name, surprisingly, because we are dealing with classmates. So I can have a classmate in Shaka, or I can have a classmate in Bubono, or wherever, because we are dealing with the students. So we just call it Classmate because it's more like a virtual class. So where you have like, different classmates across the country.
And in terms of the initial cost of setup, is it not expensive for the parents, especially in the remote areas? Don't they have to buy laptops and equipment like that to be able to access this?
You'd be surprised to learn that Botswana is one of the countries when it comes to mobile penetration. Almost every household they've got a smartphone, so they don't need to buy anything new. They can still leverage on what is already existing in their homes. So I don't think it's going to change.
Don't you need a smartphone and a laptop?
You simply need a smartphone.
And how available is that in the remote areas?
Well, I would say it's almost everywhere. And you'll be surprised if you take, like, for instance, Ganzi area. The government already has almost 60% of the schools. They have laptops, they've got iPads. So, I mean, you wouldn't worry about that because right now, very soon they'll be starting with Queen and District Council. So the issue of gadgets is not really a big problem.
You've said to me that Form 5s that are coming out of schools now, given the high failure rate, don't really have a chance out there in the market. And this is the pain point you're addressing. Simplify that for me. Simplify that for the listener to understand.
Well, what I was trying to underline here is because some of them, they thought when they finish, they're going to be this. So now the landscape has changed. Like if you look at the issue of food security, if you ever thought you are not going to be a farmer, this is now the time that you can think, oh no, you know what, Botswana needs food, so we should concentrate on production of farming. So then it means if you ever thought of being something, now because of the situation around, it's still an opportunity for them to think outside the box. Not to say, no, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be what, because if you look at food security in Botswana, I think it's a concern. So it's an opportunity for us to think outside the box. And
but you still think that the current Form 5s are not equipped. So my question is, what is the intervention you are bringing in to equip them for the modern world, the new normal, as you call it?
Well, I would say, I mean, just to answer your question, because I, for one, I did not do very well at school. I took, I had a third class, which was very, very terrible, but I never gave up. Instead, I pursued until I found myself in one of the best universities in the world, which is Coventry. So, I mean, even for them, I would say, no, look at opportunities. Some of them, they've got, I always see on Facebook, some guys are very good when it comes to art. Some guys are very good when it comes to singing. So creative industry is also, you know, making a buzz. So they should not just say, okay, because I can't be a mining engineer, so that is the end of it. So to me, I would say there are so many opportunities. We can see post-2008, there was a financial crisis. We've seen solutions like A and B. We've seen solutions coming out because where there's a
Uber
crisis,
and so
about
on.
Uber and so forth. If you look at 2004, the first SARS, you could see about eBay coming. So, I mean, to me, like now, how it is, people should look at opportunities, not
Problems.
Not problems, yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious as to how you managed with a third class to get into a top university. I'm very, very curious. How did you do it?
Well, when I was doing Form 4, I started drawing house plans from Standard 4. And then I went to the Reloschaba in Gaborone City Council, where full-time I was drawing house plans. So by the time I was there, I had interest. I went to Polytechnic. They used to call it Polytechnic. I went there to ask them if I can pursue part-time. By that time, Zona Telecommunications was offering training. They have a training school there. So I went there and then I sat for my exams. Fortunately, I managed to pass a certificate in construction. They used to call it 626. And then I was lucky to get a job. I worked for councils for like almost 13 years.
Wow.
I went to Gwene District Council, and then I went to Gwene Town Council. That is where I was taken to school to pursue my studies. So
what do you say to that would-be entrepreneur who's on the verge of giving up, who perhaps has not gone to school, is not finding the courses, is somewhat discouraged? What word of motivation do you have for them in light of that experience?
Well, I would say, I know maybe it's because of the way we are raised, where we believe that education is the key to everything. So what I would say to them is, I mean, you can imagine I've left a very comfortable job, I mean, from Gwene Town Council, and I decided to go into the street. So I want also people to believe and understand that for those people who are in the street, it's not like maybe they've lost their jobs or they were frustrated. You really have to start now, because once you start aging, it's very, very difficult to run around the street because it's tough and it's challenging. So I respect the entrepreneurs that I see around, maybe under the trees, by the stop, because they have that drive, you know, they really want it. They are very, very hungry, and most of them, they do succeed.
So people should see joblessness or unemployment as a launching pad for great entrepreneurial careers.
Exactly.
Okay. And then specifically talking about a Form 5, what career paths are available, especially leveraging IT? What career paths are available for them?
Well, I would say, you know, we see a lot of schools doing coding nowadays, because coding can solve a lot of problems. So I would say we should look at things like programming, because programming is, if you talk about technology, you talk about digital marketing, you need to know something about the computer. So I think for me, I would say they have to venture into that a lot.
It's interesting you mentioned coding. I was reading the autobiography of Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, yeah.
And he says he taught himself coding from start to finish. And you know, that's something maybe that you could talk about in terms of what's available online for people to actually teach themselves coding without necessarily waiting for a classroom and having a teacher in front of you.
Yeah, surprisingly, even myself, I'm learning a lot, because with coding is more like a language. So you need to take it as a language. You understand that language. Like if I don't know how to speak Kalanga, I'll have to find a way to learn how to speak Kalanga. So if you are really interested on coding, I don't think it's the hardest. Yeah.
How do you go about it?
Well, I mean, nowadays you go YouTube. Like right now I'm here. I met Mr. Mogobe. I always wanted to meet him in person, because I listen to the inspiration that you give to a lot of Botswana. Because, I mean, as entrepreneurs, every time we wake up in the morning, there are always challenges. So, I mean, YouTube can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube can really help.
All right. I want to talk about 4IR. In a way, we've already touched on it. What's your understanding of 4IR, and how is it impacting Botswana?
Well, I think the difference between other revolutions, because we had the first revolution, which was hunting and gathering, and then we started to have another one, industrialization, and then we also have the third one that was more into computerization. So the 4IR that we are talking about, unfortunately, is not going to spare anyone a chance. Whether you like it or not, it's going to impact us directly. And obviously, if you look at the way it's going to change our life, the way we eat, the way we interact. I mean, for me, I think our country, we are now talking about a knowledge-based economy, and there is no way we can divorce that from 4IR.
Okay, and how is your company positioning itself in that regard?
Well, with our company, the issue here is the problem. We don't have a lot of coders in our country. And I think we are open to the young ones who are really willing to, because this product is purely, it's 100% started from scratch as Botswana. So we want to encourage other Botswana who are interested into the space, not only education space, but just coding, so that maybe they can come. We need to create our content that is local, and for us to do that, we need Botswana who can say, no, we'll come forward and come out with solutions like this one.
You can even code in Setswana, isn't it?
Yeah, you can code in every language.
Any language.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that I'd really like you to talk about, it's a bit on the controversial side, is the oncoming 5G and how it's going to impact us. Yeah. Can you let the listener understand what 5G is and how do you believe it's going to impact us, since you operate in this mysterious space?
The fact that the 5G has a lot of controversy, I've never really gone too much in, because I know we are still struggling with 4G in our country. So maybe by the time it comes here, then that's when I can really maybe advise.
Go deeper into it. Yeah. Besides, you want to avoid everything controversial.
Yeah, it's very, very controversial. I know that.
What new markets can young entrepreneurs tap into?
There is a digital marketing. You really have to get into the space, because...
How does that work? What is that about?
Well, like you can see what the challenges that we have COVID. So what is going to happen post-COVID? So where now the business want to go to the new normal. So you need to start knowing how to market. So I mean, I think I'll really encourage them to pursue that, because I mean, that is just art. I mean, I am an artist.
Is digital marketing about posting on Facebook, or is there more to it than that?
No, there's more to that, because you also need to know brand positioning and stuff like that. It's not just
an optimization.
Because it's a way of how a company wants to communicate. Yeah.
Does your company offer any training in that regard?
No, we don't, but we are open to the young ones who wants to come and work with us.
So they can actually come to BIH and hang around and just learn through osmosis.
Yeah.
You must tell them. Look at the camera and tell them.
No, guys, we are open to helping every individual, not necessarily in the education space, but entirely when you talk about technology.
And can you talk about the specific virtual courses that you offer? Take them one at a time and explain the benefit of each.
We offer science and mathematics, because nowadays we talk a lot about STEM. Although I understand they've replaced STEM now, they call it STEAM, because there's also that element of art. So it's no more STEAM, is now STEM. So
let's assume complete ignorance on my part. Explain those acronyms and tell us why there's been a change and so on.
Okay. With STEM, is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I know when you talk about mathematics, a lot of people run away. So now they've started realizing that now we can put arts as a component.
Because to make it steamy.
Yeah, to make it steamy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the ones that we offer. But altogether, we offer all the subjects.
Are you bound by the current curriculum? Because there are those who could argue that the current curriculum is very limiting. It doesn't prepare people for the workplace, for the new workplace.
Yeah. Okay. No. Basically, with Classmate, we provide technology. We don't provide content. The content we partnered with teachers across the country. What they do is they are the ones who own the content.
So is it the same content that we've been getting traditionally? It's just shifted into
technology. Yeah.
Because I was going to ask you things like financial education. If there's one area where we are least equipped, is financial education. People don't know how to handle money. And people end up squandering their salaries, and when they retire, they have nothing. So I was wondering whether your company offers any skill set or any skills in that regard.
Well, with Classmate, when we talk about education, we talk about education as a whole. So once we have partners who wants to teach the young ones how to, use their money and stuff like that, we can offer the space for that. If you want to teach students about maybe cultural education and you want to put it onto our content, we can do that. So any education that you can think of, we make it available because we want the platform to be exciting, not to be limited to.
So you go beyond the normal curriculum?
We go beyond that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you mentioned you have 30,000 customers. What is the objective and what's the number that you are heading towards?
Well, the 30,000 that I'm talking about is the one for only senior secondary schools. Out of 34 senior secondary schools, we managed to register at least 28 out of 34. Because during the first lockdown, we had only senior. We were just launching junior. So now junior Leon is also pushing the numbers. Monday we were launching primary. So that means, we are just going to cover a lot of number.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just going to cover.
How does an average parent listening to you now say, wait a minute, my child can benefit from this? How, maybe somebody in the child goes to a private school. How do they get involved with you and how do they go about hooking up with your company?
If they want to know more, it's just a matter of calling 1333, Botswana Telecommunication, or they can visit any 1333.
That's your contact number.
That's BTC call center.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's hosted by BTC at their data centers. So they are the one who's got the exclusive right to talk about the product and to use it.
Yes.
So if they want to know more about it, they can also go to any nearest BTC shop. The information is there. Or rather, they can just go to Botswana Telecommunication or just check us on our Facebook page, Classmate Online. They'll get a lot of information from there.
Okay. I don't know if I've asked you this, but I wanted you to talk about coming trends in terms of telling us what future trends do you see. Perhaps you could just take your telescope and look 5 to 10 years ahead.
Yeah. What I see now, from the experience that we have learned from COVID, you can see that it looks like everything is going to go virtual. Everything, you started seeing people working from home as opposed to the traditional way of, because before that you would think if you are working from home, it means maybe your business is not doing very well. That's why you should. Nowadays, I can come and work from here. They call it a coffee. So I can just come here and work the whole day here with a cup of coffee and lunch and stuff like that. So what is going to happen is the normal, type of working that we know is going to change. And especially with education, the future of education is going to change. Because they say, if you teach students of today like you taught them yesterday, then you rob them of the future. So,
say that again. That's a beautiful saying.
They say, if you are going to teach the student of today like you taught them yesterday, then it means you are robbing them the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
This an idea that I just want to piggyback on. Taking a restaurant like ours, positioning it and marketing it as a coffees.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant concept. Because the whole idea is that people don't want to be stuck in air-conditioned offices in this time of COVID.
Yeah.
You come to a place like this, which is fully aerated, windows are open.
Yeah.
You can even sit outside and have a coffees there.
And a nice landscape, of course.
Yeah. Talk more about that.
Yeah. I think that is where the future is going. Like for me, I like going to work in the restaurant because I don't have like random, visitors coming to my office. Once I know I'm going to sit there for 2 hours, and even networking, because I came here, I've seen about 2-3 customers. I talked about the product, and they were interested. So instead of just getting stuck in the office, and
Okay, I like that phraseology, coffees. Nonas is about to become officially a coffees.
No, it should be. There's ample space here, and the environment. Even if you are stressed, you come here and look at the eye towers, you look at the places around. You get relaxed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you get relaxed.
Now, as we come to the end of our conversation, here's a chance for you to ask me any question.
Yeah.
Of course, it's within bounds.
Yeah.
I give my guests an opportunity to ask me a question as a host of this show.
Yeah. Well, the first question is, this idea of podcast, this idea of talking about business challenges, profiling different entrepreneurs, I've never seen it coming. And especially that I always tell people that the only thing that we need in our country is mentoring. Because the young ones, when they start business, the expectation is very high, and they think
things are easy.
It's going to be easy. But the fact that you came out with a concept like this, I don't know what is it that motivated you to do that. Because I've seen different high-profile, guests here, business person coming here. To a young one coming there, they can see that, since now I can do that. I don't know what motivated you to do that.
Okay, that is your question, the motivation.
That's my question.
The idea is to serve, the idea is to give back. As you might know, there's a program that I started on Duma FM called Meet the Overcomers.
Oh, I've been there once.
Yes, that was a template which is currently being run by my partner, whose name is Raktin Mazani. So that was more or less a template. The idea is have people who can energize, motivate, and encourage others to follow their tracks. And as the name implies, meet the overcomers. It implies that there's always something to overcome. And what really sets apart a successful entrepreneur from an unsuccessful one who gives up is that resiliency, that persistency, that perseverance, as Ramahan talks about in his book. So I thought I could just get a few stories from entrepreneurs, people like yourself, who can share this, because you find most of the time the reason people fail is because they were not prepared sufficiently to meet the challenges and to overcome these challenges. So it's a way of giving back and sharing with the community. I hope that answers your question.
Well, I should consider myself lucky because I was one of the guests for Meet the Overcomers at one point with Rectin Majaga. So I think I'm very lucky because I think we need this. You don't just wake up in the morning and say, I'm starting a business. Because with business, every day is a hunting day, but it's not a shooting day. So it's very, very tough. I
like that expression. It's so beautiful. Let's get out of the metaphor, break it down. Every day is a hunting day, but
it's not a shooting day.
A shooting day.
Yeah.
But you cannot have a shooting day without a hunting day. Explain that.
Yeah, because you always wake up in the morning hoping to maybe get something, but it's not always the case. But like you are saying, at least you have to wake up and go out.
And go out there.
Yeah.
Now, you have a few moments just to talk to the camera over there, to say to the prospective entrepreneur or even the struggling entrepreneur a few words of wisdom, words of encouragement. What do you have to say?
Well, all I can say is that, guys, it's not easy. But as long as you are determined, we started Classmate 4 years ago, but I've never even got a one-paid check from Classmate.
Even up to now?
Even up to now. It's not easy, guys. But I encourage you to do that, because you can also even help the governments to create employment, because the more we push that entrepreneurial spirit, the more we can even encourage the young ones.
That's a bit discouraging. 4 years, no paycheck.
Yeah.
How do you survive?
I'm always hopeful that one day I'll survive, and I'm almost getting there. That's why I'm saying
you've managed to partner.
Yeah, I managed to partner with the the biggest.
I'm asking that a bit tongue in cheek, because I hear that Amazon.com for the first 5 to 7 years they were losing money.
Yeah,
no, they were losing money like crazy. So I'm only saying that to show entrepreneurs that really determination, the difference that makes the difference is persistence. Am I right?
Yeah, I'm right. Because if you look at Classmate, we've been bootstrapping for like the past 4 years. So the little that we have, you just reinvest it into the business.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you mind sharing your contacts, your contact details?
My contact is, my number is 7146-0422, and we are located OBIH, Botswana Innovation Hub. That is where people can see us. Our Facebook page is Classmate Online. So any questions, now that we are almost closing the schools, parents can call BTC if they want to know anything about
and what's that number again?
7146-0422. Or they can call 1333, which is a call center, BTC, and then they can always get help from there.
Okay, Mr. Thuso Othusitse, thank you so much for taking the time out. Your story is very motivational, it's very moving. You have every reason to succeed, and I'm sure you're going to succeed. Would you like, in your parting shot, to encourage the viewer to subscribe to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom?
Well, there's no reason why they shouldn't, because I was lucky to come here because I have subscribed to Mogobe Nuggets. So, if you have that vision, seeing yourself not comfortable where you are, I think you better subscribe so that you can learn more from Mogobe Nuggets.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.